What's something that you're struggling with right now? Just pick one thing. You know what I think is so interesting about that question is not necessarily the answer you chose, but the fact that we can all answer that question. I'm sure no matter where you live, no matter what your life looks like, who you are, that is a question that you could probably answer pretty easily. I mean, we're all here in this life experiencing different challenges and struggling in our own unique ways, and it's not our fault. You know, to some degree, that's what it is to be alive. That's what it is to be here on Earth. But a lot of our struggles also come from having forgotten some really important truths. It's so common these days to be out of touch with our true purpose and to lack a true perspective about who we are. And like I said, it's not our fault. There are reasons for that. There are reasons that are intimately tied with kind of the way things are right now, the conditions that we live under now in modern society and the messages that we get, how things are structured. And there are also bigger reasons for that are sort of timeless. Like I said, to some degree, that's what it is to be alive, is to struggle and to learn through struggle, importantly. So why have we forgotten the truth? Why have we forgotten our purpose? Why is our perspective so narrow? Well, I'll start with the more proximal reasons, some more proximal reasons from, like I said, society and the conditions we live under currently. I mean, first of all, we, ironically enough, as I'm talking to you on a screen, we spend a lot of time on screens, on social media, and this is a space where often people who are really playing the game and succeeding at the game of life as it is set up here are the loudest voices. And these platforms have really emphasized living a life that is enviable, living a life that on the outside looks really impressive, and living a life that makes sense to other people. And so it's so common for, the time that we're children to think, oh, okay, when I grow up, I really want to be a doctor. I really want to, these days I hear it's even more common for kids growing up to want to be influencers, which is kind of the pinnacle of striving to live a life that makes sense to other people, that comes with all of the material bells and whistles and is enviable, something that people would want to imagine themselves living. And so it's not so surprising that we internalize that we believe that the purpose of life is to win, to be successful at this game of accumulation, of living a life that others want, that others envy, regardless of what, your true inner self might want. And one step further, from social media is the kind of broader ecosystem that we live under, the social conditions, the kind of the way things work in society. We live in a pay-to-play society where money buys time and access, and, we're told that money can buy ease. And that really confuses us about what the purpose of living really is. Because what they fail to mention in school, what, the news fails to mention, and what a lot of, social media fails to mention, is that ease is already within. Like, at our fundamental core, we are ease, we are peace, we are love. And that's in no way tied to what our outside life looks like. So that external purpose, if you love your job, like, that's wonderful. If you have those external motivators, like, that's all real. And I'll get to that in a moment. Like, that's all real and important, so long as it's aligned with who you really are inside. When you turn off the outside voices, if that's what's still there, then that's a wonderful thing. And we have a purpose outside of that too. And we have that core sense of ease, regardless of what we have outside. Like, we can access that inside. So, in essence, the narratives that are perpetuated in society, the things that we're told from the time that we're young, that we need to strive for the job and all of these external markers of success, go to a good college and marry someone impressive and, have an externally valid life, that you can explain to people and that looks a certain way, that's impressive. Those narratives are a diversion. And it's not our fault that we've internalized those things. I'm very much in the process of unlearning a lot of those messages. And, as much as there are those sort of constructed reasons, those like societal reasons, the stories our family tells us, wanting to make our parents proud, wanting to make our families proud, all of these external reasons that exist now in society now, the way things are. There are bigger reasons why we're so regularly out of touch with our true purpose and with that perspective of who are we really. And part of it is by design. That's part of what it is to live a life on Earth and have a physical body, is to inherently be separated from truth. It's from the fundamental truth that we are so much more than our bodies, that this life here on Earth, when it ends, is not actually the end of us. That's in part by design. Because there's no learning without struggle. Like, we come here, in a sense, to struggle and to learn. I think one of the most striking things about watching like a child grow up, or if you've ever been around babies especially, is that babies, like, they can't really do anything, but they're amazing at one thing from birth. They're incredible at learning. Like, babies are expert learners. And that really gives away the ballgame of like what we're doing here. Like, we are here to learn. And what better way to return to the truth of who we are than coming somewhere where you forget that and struggling and being challenged and learning through those struggles and challenges, oh, I'm so much more than this. And oh, these messages that we get here, that we're not anything more than our bodies, that when we die, that's it, it's over, that we need to strive to win, that we need to strive to be the best, that we're not enough as we are right now. Like, those things aren't true. And what better way to learn that, not by being told in the way that we're taught things in school, but by struggling, by being challenged and learning through those challenges again and again, and forgetting again and again, and coming to know that truth through experience, through forgetting, and slowly, at step by step, remembering, like remembering all over again. So that struggle, whatever it is you said at the beginning, or thought to yourself at the beginning, you know, that challenge you're facing right now, what you're struggling with right now, that is not a sign that something's wrong with you. Nothing's wrong with you at all. You're doing life right. You're exactly where you need to be, and in fact, you can't do it wrong. The point is to struggle. And the irony, or the sort of paradoxical thing about that, is when we surrender to that truth, when we accept struggle, when we accept challenge, there's freedom. It doesn't mean that we're broken. It doesn't mean that something's wrong or that something needs to be changed. It's just what's happening right now, and it's the universe unfolding and teaching us what we came here to learn. And it can't break us, you know, there's freedom in that. There's freedom in surrender. There's freedom in accepting the struggle for what it is. And so I try, I try not to be doom and gloom. There's always a silver lining to everything. And as much as I'm talking about struggle right now, there's something really promising in the fact that that is normal, it's healthy, it's what we're here to do. And accepting that is incredibly freeing. And so I do want to talk about, when it comes to purpose and perspective, how do we get back in touch with what our purpose is, what our perspective is? Because as much as we've forgotten those things, and it's really reinforced in our society to be out of touch with our true purpose and to have a really narrow perspective, there are ways to remember what those things are and reconnect with them. So that's what I'll cover next, because I don't want to leave anyone feeling high and dry. So check out my next couple videos and we'll dive more into purpose and perspective and, what is the truth and how can we reconnect with our truth. Thanks for watching.